Hello, everyone. Welcome back to WorkTech. I'm George LaRocque, and we had another major funding announcement this week that I'm excited to share with everyone. SeekOut announced a 115 million Series C and a valuation to go along with it of $1.2 billion, which makes SeekOut a unicorn. And I am joined by co-founder and CEO Anoop Gupta. Anoop, welcome back to WorkTech.
Thank you, George. It's exciting to be back again together just after 9 months of our Series B. Thank you.
Yeah, it was just March that we did one of these, and I know we did an introduction then, but for those who might not have seen that one or might not know SeekOut, before we dig into the deal and what's happening with SeekOut, could you tell everyone about yourself and about SeekOut, what it is that SeekOut does for talent?
Yeah, so today SeekOut is a talent acquisition platform that gives companies a competitive advantage in recruiting hard to find and diverse talent. We work on all kinds of roles from marketing and sales to engineering developers. We are global, so regardless of where you're trying to hire, you can source, and there's a lot of AI matching sourcing if you're looking for that. Automation, there's a lot of diversity, analytics, and sourcings that is there. You can go deep into the GitHub to do things. We also now have added, since we might have last talked, being able to rediscover talent in your applicant tracking systems that has applied much more smoothly. We can help you rank inbound applicants. If you have too much, influx of applicants, we can do that. There's contact information, emails, phone numbers, messaging platform. So it's a pretty comprehensive platform for talent acquisition. 6 of the, top 10 most valued companies use SeekOut. So, that is exciting. We've grown 300% in our revenue during the last year. We have now doubled our customer base to 1,000 plus. So lots of interesting and exciting developments, and we are super thankful to our customers, for their confidence and support.
Yeah, you've made a lot of progress. That's in a short period of time. I know I forget the metric that was in your release, but your valuation has it gone up 3 times?
It's gone up to 2.6 fold in the last 9 months.
All right. Yeah, I guess I rounded up.
Yeah.
You're an engineer, so okay.
Yeah.
Not quite 3. That's really validating, along with the deal, the momentum and the progress, it's such a difficult job market, and your solutions like yours are right on time, right, in this time. And let's talk about timing. Was there, when you looked at this Series C, was it external factors that led you to this big round, or internal factors, or a combination of both? What led you to raise the money now?
Yeah, it was a mix, so even though we don't disclose, the numbers get out. So we had a lot of inbound interest in saying from, growth venture capitalists to say, hey, take our money, we want to invest, we want to participate. So, the board decided we should take a look, but let's make it a time-efficient process. Our focus should be simply growing our business. Yeah. There were internal factors too. So one of the things, George, let me provide a bit of context. Last 2 years, the world of work and the world of talent has changed. We call the great reshuffle and retention issues that are there. We know about the digital transformations, like you said, 2 years and 2 months. Remote work has become the norm. And one of the things that has happened is employees have come into a position of power, demanding flexibility, demanding growth opportunities, internal mobility, and a lot of that. So as we were talking, to our existing customers and otherwise, it became apparent that there is a larger problem to be solved. Enterprises today are kind of flying blind when it comes to their people and what they know about their people and what they need to do about it. It is interesting that enterprises are deep into data, but when it comes to data about their own people or the hiring they have to do, they're still back to spreadsheets and long analysis and people doing manual work. So today we help companies hire, but the need we felt was it is about hiring, retention, growth, and redeploying of talent. That became the big opportunity. We call this enterprise talent optimization, and we are now deeply committed to helping companies on this broader mission. And so, that means we got to hire a lot more people. That means marketing and development. That means sales and pre-sales and delivery, expanding internationally, tuck-in acquisitions, more data and infrastructure. So there's just a whole lot of things that we wanted to do, that it requires, and some of these things can take a little longer. So we said, while there is a lot of inbound interest and we have aspirations that are much broader than what we've been doing so far, let's take the money.
Yeah. Well, I was about to ask, my next question was about the valuation and, what this means for your future. You just answered a lot of that. You talked about the team, you talked about going to market, you mentioned acquisitions, you mentioned, that valuation and the round is very validating. And it also, creates some expectations for your growth and your market. It sounds like, you've already had a strategy in place that extends beyond, sourcing, just external sourcing. So it's exciting.
We grew our headcount grew 3x this last year, and we expect to have a very strong growth trajectory in the coming year. And the valuation helps actually, even in, there's some more risk-averse people. And so being a unicorn status gives them comfort and attraction to come and join us. So we will be upping our talent at all levels in all functions. So very excited about that.
Yeah. And I would imagine like many of your customers, your team is largely remote at this point.
Yeah, no, so we do have very nice offices in Bellevue. Mm-hmm. But, so one is just from a hiring perspective, we are around 60% in the Seattle, Bellevue area and 40% remote. Of those 60%, I would say maybe 15% come into the office. And it varies. The engineering teams come in more, there's more interaction, the sales teams come in more rarely. So we are, our employees' safety and health is the highest concern. Mm-hmm. So we are giving, folks a lot of flexibility in what they do and what will work for them and their families.
Yeah. Well, I just skimmed an article today, as a matter of fact, that talked about Bellevue and how it's getting some swagger from a tech scene perspective. I don't know if that's new, but it talked about startups and scale-ups, and you're the latest. You're the big news of the day, right? In that area.
No, thank you. Yeah, the number of I think unicorns in Seattle area is growing. I think we are up to 18 or 19 right now that is there. And so it is exciting to be part of that. And Bellevue is true. Amazon is building a huge facility out
Yeah.
to do whenever they decide to go in person. But there's a lot of startups and interest, and a lot of that comes from ex Amazon, ex Microsoft, ex as the large company tech scene has grown in the area.
Yeah.
So are the startups and the ecosystem there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, you're a living example of that ecosystem, right? Microsoft,
Yes.
executive. Yeah, that's true. So this makes sense that your customers have led you to this vision. I'm curious if what you're seeing aligns with what I've seen, where the head of HR, the head of talent, they're starting to look at talent more holistically. They see that there's a difference between external and internal talent, but it's really one big picture that they're looking for, and shifting resources based on availability and priority. Is that what the feeling you're getting in your customer base?
Certainly, that is true. If you have a resignation, firstly, it's very expensive. It's almost like an employee's full year compensation, because it's not only your recruiting, they have to be brought up to speed. There's time lost, lots of things lost, when you do. So there are many companies that we find the head of talents and head of internal mobility are the same people.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Monaghan, who is, very familiar to our community, she heads both of those sites for Uber.
Okay.
Andre Ho at General Dynamics IT, heads talent acquisition and talent mobility. So because they're just two sides of the same coin, and company like Peloton, for example, as their stock hits some bumps, they reduce their external hiring, and they said, we got to take the talent we already have and redeploy them to the roles and amazing work that we still need to do.
Yeah.
So it's all connecting for people. And the other thing I might say is this talent issue. It's no longer just a HR issue. It's a business leader issue. It's one of the top priorities for the CEOs to say, without the talent and the right talent for the C-suite, we're not going to reach our goals. We're not going to be able to implement our vision for the business.
Yeah. Yeah. Deloitte I was just looking at their latest CFO survey, global CFO survey, and talent was both the number one strategic priority and threat to the business. So it was an interesting, so the lens is squarely focused on this, right? In the C-suite. I'm curious, in your release, it used the term 360, Talent 360 platform. Does that speak to the holistic view that we just talked about, or is there an analytics side to that? I don't want to read too much into it. What does that mean to SeekOut?
Yeah. So what that means is, right, whether you're hiring or you are dealing with retention, step one is understanding your people and understanding the context in which your company is operating. And no company is an island. So you need the external data, for how popular are these skills, experience? Is there a massive amount of demand? What are other companies paying? What does salary look like? What the geography looks like? So, you need to understand the external environment. And then you want to understand internally to say, what is this employee's trajectory? How is their manager? Is their salary competitive? What are the growth opportunities they have taken? Kathleen Hogan, the EVP and CHRO of Microsoft, they sent a mail to 20,000 managers of people and said, you got to start having conversations with your people on their growth, on their development, because that is a critical aspect of retaining and not only retaining, growing your people, right?
Right,
Because
right.
there's this whole debate between, does an employee belong to the manager or do they belong to the company, right? And the more evolved attitude is they belong to the company. Employees find it easier to find opportunities outside the company than inside the company. The job board sucks. There's a lot of things that can be done better. And that's what excites us about our mission as we go forward.
Yeah, well, that's certainly exciting. So what are the, you've cast a lot of high level implications for the product and the company. What are some of the shorter term impacts? Are there particular areas? Let's start internally that will there be more growth in product or growth in sales and marketing, or where do you think you're focused? I know you just announced this round, so it's all subject to change, but where do you feel you're going first?
We are, and I'm being honest, really going to be investing across the areas. We need to expand the product, and we are doing it, and we are having pilot customers around this internal talent mobility. And it takes the form of being able to source internal candidates, maybe by recruiters, and then having an employee system where they can find their next roles, they can find the team members who they might be working in, have chats, have enterprise policies on who's allowed to move, not move, to really design that enterprise relevant system. The person leading it for us, comes from Google, and a lot of the top tech companies build bespoke systems, custom systems for just themselves, for Google or Facebook or Microsoft. But the whole world needs them, and we are capturing the best ideas from everywhere, and providing system. At the same time, we have very high aspirations for how much we can grow in sales, both just from the talent acquisition business. We are not ignoring that business. There is a huge need, right, for talent acquisition. So we need to have the sales and the marketing. Just in the last year, we've had a VP of marketing, we have a VP of engineering, we have new senior level leadership that we are hiring, and people we are hiring to grow those businesses. So sales is growing, marketing is growing, customer success is growing, engineering is growing, product is growing, finance and operations are growing. So it's really a pretty broad spectrum of growth that we're targeting.
Yeah. So you mentioned, and while you were talking there, you mentioned that you have some pilot customers. So you've got this isn't all vision. You've got some initial product, and you're you're moving that forward with some key customers.
Yes.
So that's a fairly short to medium term roadmap item for putting some of this out, I would imagine.
Yeah, it is. One of the things about it is, we have a team who has already built muscle around us. So as you know, for external talent, right, means we bring in public profiles, GitHub, this thing, we look at open jobs, we estimate security clearance from that. So we have built this muscle to integrate in new data sources, bring them together in intelligent ways to show you analytics and help you source and search and things, and AI matching. So if you look at what goes inside the internal thing, now you're saying is, I can add the internal levels data, I can add the past roles data, I can add maybe even internal GitHub or Jira, data into the internal profiles, not just the HRIS system data. We already have the search engine. So if you're doing an employee thing and you say, I need to do the AI matching against open roles, if we have the default profile, we can go and do that. So we have the right team and the right infrastructure to be able to move very quickly, and that excites us.
Yeah. So are you staying focused on the matching and the and this internal external sourcing and not the workflow, or are you thinking about some workflow as well in the process?
There's implicit workflow.
Okay.
There's a lot of talent analytics and inside.
Okay.
There is internal matching. And part of the workflow, if you look from an employee perspective, is right, they come, they are offered, possible positions that are matching. They are offered, career pathways that they're offered other team members, they're offered learning and development, they're able to express interest in the direction they want to go. So, there is workflow involved, but we are not trying to be an applicant tracking system or an HRIS system.
Right.
We look at them as partners to us.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I have to say, I know I could keep going and going on this, but I met you. It was the last trip I took before the pandemic,
Yes,
stopped travel at one of your partners,
yes,
customer
conference. Yes,
events,
I remember
conferences. And it's very rare that I meet a lot of founders, but you told me when we met that you were doing big things and this was going to you were going to take off. And I hear that a lot. So, and I love it. But here we are just a couple of years later, and boy, what you've really delivered on that exhibition floor chat. More than any I've seen that I've met before 2 years later, that's for sure. So congrats.
George, thank you so much. But yeah, I truly feel, blessed and grateful. And a lot of it is the team and the culture and the values that you have. And we have an amazing team, collaborative, a lot of humility, a lot of grit to go and, do things. So feel very blessed and grateful.
That's good to hear. So one last question for you. Where can folks go find out more about the product and your plans and what you're up to?
So, SeekOut.com is the place to go and look out there. And they'll find a lot of material about the new direction, the old stuff, which is important that, they can look at.
Cool. Well, Anoop, thank you so much for your time. I know how busy you are, and thanks to everybody for listening. I'm sure they've enjoyed this as much as I have.
Thank you so much, George, for having me on your podcast.
Thanks.